Hey everybody, I'm Zarek, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the game Stormgate, which is currently in beta at the time of this video being made. So I want to show you a few different things about how the game works and some of the basics for getting started when you start to play. So, like I said, it's currently in beta, so there are a lot of things that I can't show you right now, and that we'll have to wait until the full game comes out. There's no information about the campaign at this point. There is a little bit about co-op, versus, and custom games, though it is all quite limited. So there are some other things that you can dig around into if at your leisure. Those are not what I would consider the basics. I want to show you a little bit about how we get building a base, how you start playing the game. Some of the really building block stuff here. So we're going to create a game here. Pick the Boneyard, private lobby, and my hope is that they have a little bit more by way of server space when the game comes out. AI and peaceful. There we go. This will give us an opportunity just to plug away at some of the basic stuff that we see on the screen. I'll just this here. You can see the whole screen as we go. All right, and now we're playing. So when you start off is the Vanguard faction in the game, which is, if you played StarCraft, very similar to the Terran race in that game. You actually get a scout unit, which is unusual for a lot of RTS games. The Infernal faction, the other faction, doesn't get a scout unit. We're not going to worry too much about that. We will just send our scout over to where the opponents are. Now, you start off with a command post and several of these miners, right? They are the BOB or Bob miners, and they will be mining out this here, which is your Luminite. There's also another resource here. You can see it's generating on the map called Therium, and you need to mine both Luminite and Therium. You can think of these as analogous to minerals in StarCraft and Vespene gas in StarCraft. They're sort of analogous in that way, in both that this is much more limited in your need for it, and that it's used to create more high-level units and to do research. So you can build things by clicking on the structure and selecting it, but you also notice that there's just like on a QWERTY keyboard, Q, W, E, R, T here listed as hotkeys, right? So you can switch, Q, W, E, R, T, and it's set up so that it's really easy. All of the both factions that are out so far share this setup for the hand placement, which was different from earlier RTS games. A lot of the time, you had to learn a new hand placement for the hotkeys for each faction. So I think that's kind of an upgrade for this game. If you click on Q, you can see the structures. W, you can see the units. And if you hit A, all of the structures that can produce that type of unit, the more you hit the A, it'll cycle through them, producing one per. Um, so that can't. So there's no longer any need for groupings. So you don't have to, like in StarCraft, you might have had to group StarCraft 2. You might have to group several structures. In StarCraft Brood War, you could not group structures, and so you had to individually click on each of them. In this game, they're automatically grouped for you. You just click W, and then all of the unit producing structures of that type can be toggled in one go. Unlike other RTS games, there is a worker cap that's soft. This game has a hard worker cap of 12 for the Luminite structures. So you can't get any more Luminite than having 12 guys go on this at one time. For the Vanguard faction, you can't produce these structures. It's very similar to a supply depot in StarCraft. And this structure, which is a barracks, word for word the same name as a StarCraft structure. And we can start these guys building. You can peel off additional workers. This is similar to Age of Empires, and increase the production time on other structures, right? When you're building another command post, if you want to mine out somewhere else, I think that the ideal amount of these Bob units that you want to peel off is probably around 3, right? That's where, because there is a diminishing return on the mining. And that is probably the best decrease of the time it takes to build without sacrificing a needless amount of these units who could otherwise be. So once we have this going, there are different units you can, again, you can just hit W and it'll automatically, you don't have to select it, right? It'll just, whatever unit of that type or whatever structure of that type that builds those units, it'll automatically select them all when you hit W. And you can, if you hit Q, so I'm just toggling Q, I'm not actually hitting the, I'm not clicking the structure, you can tell it and all of the other structures of its type to send workers here, right? We can also choose this Luminite deposit here and the all pick here just by clicking Q and then selecting. And if we do this, it will start selecting place for this to go automatically. I haven't even switched over to W, right? So the control scheme is pretty streamlined compared to previous real-time strategy games. I think that this hotkey setup is the main thing that you're going to want to start learning when you start to play, and a lot of things will flow from that. You do have many abilities here at the top. Some of them are locked because they're not available during the beta, and we'll have to see what comes of them as you go. A couple other things I want to mention just as far as basics go is that there are camps along the map, right? These are things where you have to kill some sort of special unit. This is a level 4 deer, and units do have, some amount of levels. A level 4 deer, probably pretty difficult for me to kill with just 1 or 2 units at this point. But if you do manage to kill it and you bring a unit into this little sphere beside it, you will get some sort of bonus, right? In this case, it will heal your units. In this case, it will give you a large vision range in that area, which can be good when you want to make an attack. Other than that, though, there's you're building a tech tree. So now that we've constructed a barracks, our Bobs will let us. Oh, let's click on one here. Our Bobs will let us build other things now, including a biokinetics lab, which will tech up, allow us to build other structures, other units, that sort of thing. There is research you can do in upgrades. That's about it. That's sort of the basics of the game so far. Please, if you want to see some more videos about Stormgate, definitely have some coming down the pipe. So leave a like and click on the notification button and subscribe to the channel so that you get the notifications for those when they come through. And otherwise, thanks for watching. All right, have a great day.